What is up, Low Voltage Nation? We've got a very special episode with Marc Nagao from Cisco Small Business and Cramer Snuggs from Cascade Tech. We're about to talk technology and the partner army, so let's get after it. Today we got Marc Nagao from Cisco Small Business and Cramer Snuggs from Cascade Tech. We've connected on Instagram and we've gone back and forth, had some phone calls, talking some Cisco stuff. And we got a really great and special episode today. And I'm actually going to kick it over to Cramer Snuggs because he's got some cool stuff with Marc at Cisco. And I'm just going to have him talk about the introduction and what they got going on. So thank you guys both for getting on the show. And Cramer, take it away, my man.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me back on the show. And Marc, I know you're busy, so I appreciate you taking the time to come out and chat with us and tell the Low Voltage Nation a couple of things we've got going on. As we get started, Marc, tell me who is Marc Nagao? Who are you? What do you do? And what got you where you're at right now?
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for having me on. My name is Marc Nagao. I am a product manager on the Cisco Small Business team. I actually write all the requirements. I am the guy who makes the RV series routers within the portfolio. They're my ideas. I design them. We make them. We test them. I sell them. I support them, and I kill them. So I am 100% responsible for the life cycle of this portfolio. I've been doing it for almost 8 years. And Cisco is a special place. It's pretty unique. You know, it's a giant company. We have 75,000 employees along with another 75,000 contractors. So you can imagine the breadth of this company. We actually have our own zip code up in Santa Clara. I think, Cramer, you've been there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a massive, massive company that is capable of doing many things. And, you know, when you see those commercials on TV, that is the scope of what this company can do. It's quite an amazing place.
Absolutely. So, Marc, let's see, what was it, January of this year, we started kind of chatting it up over Instagram, and
yep.
I think you were going to send me some product, and the next thing I know is we got a guy from Cisco out here at the office, and hand delivering some hardware to us.
That's right.
We worked over the phone. I started really building our inventory of the small business gear. Business really started to grow. So it's been a good relationship for me and my company with Cisco Small Business. The growth we saw after that, and all along in this process, we're pumping installs out, a lot quicker than we used to be. So, it really built. So now we met back in Hershey, Pennsylvania. It's been quite a few months now for the D&H show, and that was an opportunity for us to kind of go out into the world together and see what having a partner there with you would benefit. So tell me, what do you think is we're heading to Cancun this month.
That's right.
What is your vision for this? What do you think? What kind of an asset do you think the more partners that really pick up on what you guys are doing? How do you think that helps expand Cisco, and how do you think that really helps build this opportunity for partners?
Yeah, that's a super important point. First of all, let me go back and tell you about the little story about social media for our team. So we had some accounts. I had to actually start a couple of them. So I took over all the social media about 4 years ago, and most of the accounts are pretty dormant. And of them, I had Twitter, which now has 27,000 followers. My Facebook has about 17,000. But when I took and created the Instagram account, I started from zero. So I'm now at about 25,200 or something. And what really happened is that I found that yes, it is a social media platform. And yes, you can take pictures and just post them of whatever. But what I found is it's a very important tool that you can reach out to people that could be halfway around the world or halfway across the nation. And you can have a quick conversation about, hey, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to see what your business is all about and what it could be. And that was really the genesis of you and me starting that initial conversation that, I think there's some options that I can provide to you. And, back to your second question, I think that is the value to a lot of partners out there, in that many don't know that we have a Cisco small business portfolio. And a lot of our activities as a team are involved in increasing that awareness. And so part of that awareness campaign is really going through some of the social media and reaching out to partners and saying, hey, we have something that you might be interested in. And part of that exercise is, if I put one of my routers in your hands, you get to touch it and feel it, you realize it's not some cheap piece of plastic. These things are high quality with high power CPUs that can push some amazing performance for the price point. Because the perception that I have heard, and I'm sure you two know quite well, is that the perception out there is that we don't make $200 routers. We make $2,000, $20,000 routers, right? And that has to be deployed by a CCIE or a CCNA, and that is far from the truth. We actually do have routers that actually are under $100 US. They have amazing features. They actually are very fast. They're designed with the same quality standards as any other Cisco product. And I think the problem essentially is a simple awareness thing. And I firmly believe that if most partners out there had the option, they knew of an option, I think they try it. That's my bet.
Absolutely. And so, as I mentioned, so we've completed a case study together. I think that was a big break for both of us. It demonstrated to the world that, even a small business as small as my own, because we're nothing, huge, can benefit from a relationship with a major company such as Cisco. And we've seen that over the last, 9 months here.
That's right.
So why, I guess another question that's a little vague, but let me ask you this. Why do you think that this is a big step for Cisco small business? What, the relationship that you're building with partners, similar to the relationship that me and you built together. Why do you think that's a big step for Cisco small business at this point?
Well, I actually, before Cisco, I worked for a company called Cascade. At that time, they were one of the leaders in remote monitoring and management platforms, and they're still probably top 3 in the industry. And, coming from there, I understood how radical managed services was changing every technical industry. It's just turning things upside down. And I realized that even within the last couple of years, managed services is completely changing. In that, when you talk about partners, a lot of these partners may not even know what an MSP is, or maybe they want to become an MSP, or they don't know how to do it, or maybe they're just in another total vertical where they're doing business that requires a network for their product or service to run on. And so I think that awareness of us getting out there, especially when you have a partner that's already taken the leap of faith, it's very compelling to other people. And we've seen that in action, where somebody will look at your instance of our Find It network management platform, and their eyes are big. There's no blinking. They're looking at it, and you can see the big bright light bulb go off in their head, and they can absolutely see that in their head. Like, there's a roadmap to my business. And when you see that happen, it is very exciting to see. Awesome.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know about the Find It network management instance that you just mentioned, it's give me a brief rundown on that. I mean, I'm very familiar with it. My map is,
of course you are.
Dots all across the country, but a brief rundown of exactly what you mean, because I don't think that partners and customers truly know at this point what Find It is.
Right. So for any managed service provider to be viable in that service industry, you need to use some sort of RMM and probably some sort of professional services application in tandem. That allows you to be able to scale. It allows you to take on more clients with less people. You're more efficient. And so in order to monitor and manage monitor and manage our Cisco small business portfolio, we needed some sort of platform where you can treat our network devices just like any other computer or server or any other device within an IT environment. And so we created this platform that allows you to remotely monitor and manage our devices. You can absolutely cross-launch into the device UIs. You can see all of the devices in the network, even if they're not Cisco. You can do all kinds of things like upgrade the firmware. You could do some switching and VLAN updates and changes. There's just all kinds of capability that you could do with something like that, that if you didn't have this, everything is manual. And as some sort of provider in any capacity, if you have to do it manually, you are wasting time and you're just wasting efficiency that could be used to your benefit.
Absolutely. So we're using Find It, like I said, pretty big scale for us, across the country, everywhere from Fremont, where our data center is based off small business gear, down to each and every one of our customers across the place. And it's been interesting for us because we're getting email notifications anytime a switch goes down or anytime our clients have an issue across the board. We can do backup for our configurations. We can upgrade firmware, the whole 9 yards. And we've seen Find It, even just now in 2019, the growth that we've seen and the changes with Find It, those have been, huge, drastic changes. So I know there's a lot of more change coming there. So let's roll into something that we've talked about, kind of since day one. And I think Blake really understands and he shares a common interest with us on this, which is the partner army that we've as we've named it at this time. Tell me, give us a little rundown real quick. Tell us what, where you fit into that and what's your vision, I guess you would say, for this partner army. Tell us what it's all about.
Well, at Kaseya, I ran our Kaseya community. So that we're talking over 6,000 managed service providers. And I saw that there is definitely a need. It's almost a requirement that you have this sort of area that people can talk about. At that point, it was how do you do things with Kaseya and how do you integrate with ConnectWise or whatever it was. But so much further than that, is there a need to have an area? You can almost compare it to a Reddit, but in a more healthier, enjoyable fashion. You know what I mean? Where people aren't going to be intimidated to raise their hand and say, I could use some help. I'm using this SLA template that I downloaded from some Google website, right? And it worked okay for the first year, and I know there's room for improvement. And that's just one random example, but think of it from a macro view where if you have this ability to let people come in and share their ideas, whether they're great or not, that environment will breed success for most. And I don't necessarily want to say that this is a Cisco small business community because I don't feel we're the centric part of the equation. The center of the universe for any kind of community or army or whatever we're going to call this at some point is the partners themselves. And I believe that Cisco should not be the only vendor in it. I know we could probably recruit quite a few other great partners to inject some funds into it, inject some infrastructure into it, and we can make this a really, really great place to actually talk. We've been talking about doing WebExes. We've been talking about, doing events around the country and maybe even around the world, because I know I have a reach of, it's a global reach. And I know that we can bring this sort of message and this sort of homecoming to partners everywhere, because I know there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of families, there's a lot of teams out there that are kind of wondering what they're going to do and what are they going to do to transform their business if they're not entirely happy with where their business is going today. You know what I mean? And I think that we can grow this at a very manageable level, nice and slow, but do it right. And as we get more partners, we're just going to build this momentum. And as this momentum, and I'm not saying that everybody needs to use my product. That's a part of it. I hope that works, but it's more about the partner. It's more about the partner.
Certainly. And it all kind of goes back to, at least at this point, these early stages, it all kind of goes back to Instagram. But, you know, I think about if we could get a chance for a lot of the partners to sit down face to face, make a list of issues or hurdles that we're all kind of going through, and how that could not only benefit each of us sitting around that table, but benefit all of our installers and our partners and even our vendors and manufacturers across the board. It's been a few months ago, but you know, there was a lot of heat. This is just an example on Instagram about we were all ordering our 6-inch slim run cables for Monoprice, and they were coming in each individually packaged, you know, this, that, or the other. As a community, we all recognized that it wasn't time efficient to sit there and unpackage each cable individually. And it was a waste of plastic in general. Yeah. So
absolutely
we all kind of put our heads together and said, what can we do about this? Now we found a solution where not only are we getting those cables at nearly half the price, but we're getting them in packages of 50 where they're not individually packaged. The quality is better. And so that is just a small example of the changes that we can make for the entire industry, for the entire community, by just putting our heads together and saying, guys, what can we do to change this? So absolutely, it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. And you know, you bring up a good point in that, yes, MSPs are probably at the center focus, but around the periphery are all the various businesses and industries that would support an MSP. People like the cable guys, cable pullers, fasteners, rack guys, APC guys, you name it. And as we have these conversations, and we've had a lot now over the last couple years, everybody's interested. I mean, I just talked to 2 cable guys over the last week, and they're like, I want to play. I would love to join this, because you know what? Everything that kind of happens in this ecosystem affects everybody, even outside the rings. You know, and I think there's a lot of things that we can do to transform it at a very grassroots level. And I guarantee you what's going to happen is once everybody kind of pays attention, we're going to see some radical things happen in the industries. You know what I mean? And so, you know, one thing I would like to point out is even if a partner is not an MSP today, I think there's probably going to be even more interest from any provider out there, providers that are installing security cameras, right? Ring doorbells. Maybe they're a handyman. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Any person that's providing some sort of service, some kind of install, whatever it is, they're going to be interested in what we have to say and what everybody has to say. So I think it's not just a very tight category. It's something to where I don't care who you are. Maybe you're an employee at a brick and mortar computer store. You might see that spark, right?
Yeah. So me and Marc have been having these talks for the last few months, and we're talking about this. And then I get on Instagram one day and I see this Low Voltage Nation come up, you know, and I immediately got hype. I reached out to Blake and I'm like, dude, I love how hype you are. I love what you're doing. You know, I want to be on the show. I want to come on the show. I want to talk with you. I want to learn more. And so, you know, Blake, at this point, I've been following the podcast. You know, I'm always eager to see who you're going to get on there next. You've had some of the best in the industry, in my opinion, already on your show, and I love it. I love it. So, you know, I think that this was a big step for the whole community. You know, a year ago, if you'd have said, hey, let's put together a podcast and get a bunch of installers to talk about what makes them special or makes them stand out, You know, people might have looked at you kind of, you know, like what? But
Funny.
here you are now, and you're doing it. You're doing it, and
Yep.
and I think it, you know, I think it's a beautiful thing. So I know you probably agree with what we were saying here.
Oh, absolute, man, Cramer. I'm just getting like warm and fuzzy listening to both you and Marc. You and Marc talk about, you know, your vision with the partner army and getting people together in a healthy and productive environment where, you know, whether it's competitors or people that are partners, you know, it's so cool to be part of that. And I'm super humble right now, to be honest. Like I just kind of came out of nowhere, you know, over the last few months. I just started rolling with this podcast thing, and I've been just going hard in the paint with my content tsunami, just trying to bring value to the community and bring people together. And it's such a pleasure and such an honor to like sit here and listen to you guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I love what you're doing. I mean, you're out there every day. You're chasing content, you're chasing ideas, you're getting on Instagram Live, you know, you're making these posts, and you're so hype about everything going. You can tell you love the Music City, you know, there's so much going on there. And so I just, you know, I love the whole idea of it. I like, you know, I sit back in my car, I drive for these installs every day. So I'm sitting back and I'm in my car, I'm listening to the podcast, and it's a beautiful thing. So I just appreciate you giving me an opportunity to not only come on here once, but now, you know, return to the podcast again.
Yeah, there will be more, I'm sure.
Good deal. Well, Marc, hey, I appreciate you coming on, and Blake, I appreciate you letting me, you know, kind of steal the mic here a little bit and do a rundown with Marc. So, guys, hey, I appreciate it, and I definitely look forward to what the future holds for all of us.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the time, you guys.
Yep. Y'all take care.
Absolutely. Take care, man.
Bye. What a great episode that was. My goodness. I'm just so excited what the future holds with Cascade Tech, Cisco Small Business, and Low Voltage Nation. Y'all be sure to check us out. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm doing some stuff on TikTok, but y'all just keep getting after it. I appreciate everybody so much. Thank you.